Rob Gronkowski is retiring. I want to talk about it. Like and subscribe, and let's get into it. So this is purely going to be a video to appreciate all the greatness that is Gronk. He has transcended football and become a pop culture reference. He is possibly the best tight end of all time, but most certainly the most entertaining. He was drafted in the second round, 42nd overall, to the New England Patriots back in the 2010 draft. It didn't take long for him to make an impact. As a rookie, Gronk caught 10 touchdowns, second most by a rookie tight end ever, behind only Mike Ditka, who had 12. Pairing up with Tom Brady made sure his career would take off. The two became an immediate dynamic duo. The two paired up to win 4 Super Bowls together, 3 in New England and their most recent in Tampa Bay. Tom Brady is absolutely the greatest quarterback to ever play the game, but I am prepared to make the argument that Rob Gronkowski is the greatest tight end to ever play the game as well. The fact that they ended up on the same team is just fate. There's no doubt that Brady made Gronk better, but there's solid proof that Gronk made Brady better too. Outside of the Randy Moss-led 50-touchdown season in 2007, Brady's highest touchdown season was 28 before Gronk arrived. Nothing to turn your nose up at, but not elite numbers either. The second Rob Gronkowski arrived on the scene, Brady threw for 36 touchdowns. It would only go below that 28 touchdown number twice in the next 12 years. The first time was 2013, when Gronk only played 7 games, and the other was 2019, when Gronk took the year off to contemplate retirement and go win a WWE championship. Since Gronkowski has been drafted, Tom Brady averaged 33.3 touchdowns per year, which is up from 25.4 prior to Gronk. I think this is one huge argument for him being the GOAT tight end, but let's explore his career compared to the other tight end greats. Many would consider Tony Gonzalez, Jason Witten, and Antonio Gates to be the top contenders for greatest tight end of all time. It makes sense as they're all top 3 in receptions and receiving yards, but Gronk is third in touchdowns with Gonzalez and Gates ahead of him. Gronkowski is ahead of all 3 of them in receiving yards per game and yards per catch, ranking second all time in both categories. I understand that longevity carries a lot of weight when deciding where a player ranks on the all-time list, but let's not pretend like Gronk couldn't keep playing if he wanted to. It's not like he's past his prime and needs to hang it up. He still had 55 catches last season in just 12 games. If he stayed healthy, his stats would be numbers that likely would never be surpassed. Let's do some quick math on his stats. He averaged .64 touchdowns per game he played. If he had never missed a game, but played the same number of seasons, he'd be second all-time in touchdowns, only 3 touchdowns behind Antonio Gates. But he'd still be outside the top 10 in number of games played. If he kept that touchdown percentage and played in exactly the same number of games as Antonio Gates, who was behind Witten and Gonzalez by a good amount, he would have 151 touchdowns in his career, putting him in first place by more than 30 touchdowns. And if he matched Witten for most games played, he'd have racked up an insane 173 touchdowns in his career. This would put him number 2 all-time regardless of position, only behind Jerry Rice. I know that's a lot of what-ifs, but I feel confident that if he wanted to, he could play another couple years and keep putting up stats. So to me, he is absolutely, without a doubt, a top 2 tight end of all time. His ability to do so much with relatively so little is what makes him so great. Anytime Gronk caught the ball, you felt like he had a chance to take it to the house, or it at least would be a highlight. He pulled away with speed or just manhandled secondaries and threw them off of him like he was Derrick Henry. I know we have the Travis Kelce's, Darren Wallers, and Mark Andrews of the world coming up behind him, but he was really the first tight end, in my opinion, that was a perfect mix of old school and new school at the position. I'm going to miss his personality, SportsCenter highlight plays, and drafting him in fantasy every year that I could. But I hope he continues making corny commercials, and maybe he'll show up again in a year after winning another WWE belt. Thanks, Gronk, for all you did in the league, and we'll see you soon. And that's going to do it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, I hope you'll leave a like rating and consider subscribing. I'm on my way to 1,000 subs and would love if you'd help me get there. Thanks so much, and I'll see y'all next time.